So you'll remember on President Trump's first day in office, he signed an executive order to end birthright citizenship in America, okay? It will be shot down by lots of judges at lots of levels because it is a complete rejection of what is in the Constitution. Now, does that mean that this is a dead letter for Trump and that the Supreme Court will rule the same way? Not necessarily, and not to undermine the Supreme Court. I'm just being honest about it. This would be a political change, not a legal change, and this court is absolutely capable of it, okay? So today we learned that Trump plans to also do something else that I think legally is a real tough stretch, even though it sounds good. The Alien Enemies Act of 1789, okay, is about having an expeditious way to get around due process when you're dealing with someone at war, okay? Trump wants to use it to get rid of some gang members that have been declared terroristic organizations. Now, is this using the law in a smart way, or is it abusing the law in a way that we should not see as smart? Let's get two different perspectives on this. John Sandwick, former acting ICE director under Obama. Chad Wolf, who ran the Homeland Security Department in Trump's first administration. All right, don't be me. Don't say a lot, but say a little. And let's try and get as many points in on this as we can. Two different issues. John, birthright citizenship. What do you think the chance is of Trump winning this legal fight, and why should he lose, in your opinion?
Chris, look, I think ultimately he's going to lose on the substance of the issue, right? I mean, the 14th Amendment says if you're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, you're a U.S. citizen if you're born in this country. The Supreme Court has already decided this issue. As far as, you know, there's longstanding precedent that says if you're born here, you're a citizen unless you're the child of a diplomat. I will say one thing quickly, though, Chris. What they are asking for here is more about these nationwide injunctions as well, of course, right? They're saying these district courts shouldn't have the power to bind the entire administration. Instead, they should be limited to their district or the specific plaintiffs in the case. I do think there's some irony there, especially because during the Biden administration, of course, Republican attorneys generals relied heavily on these district court judges to issue nationwide injunctions. Right. But I think long-term, quickly, I just don't see how you win on this one when the plain language of the 14th Amendment is so clear and when there's so much precedent from the Supreme Court.
Chad, you get the frustration with the court stepping in on what seems like executive authority to some, and you understand the motivation behind Trump's move on the 14th Amendment. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's important to remember that this is a Supreme Court decision from 1898 that actually interprets that citizenship clause of that 14th Amendment. So this idea of going back to the Supreme Court now over 100 years later, I think it's a valid, because a lot of things have changed in the country. And of course, when that decision was rendered, illegal aliens like we have today didn't really exist. And I think it's also important that the order, or the executive order, I should say, that President Trump put in place on day one just is a very narrow order. It's just dealing with illegal aliens that have children here. It's not everyone that's on a visa. It's not every visitor here, every businessman or woman that come to the United States. So it's a very, very narrow that says if you're here illegally, if you don't have a legal right to be in this country and you have a child, then it should not apply to those children.
Gotcha. John, you're shaking your head. Why?
Well, look, I apologize. The executive order does say if both parents are here legally but temporarily. So you could have a situation where you have two parents on an H-1B working at, let's just say, Intel or Google, and they have a child. That child under the executive order not be a U.S. citizen. I understand from a policy perspective. Look, I think this is the law. It's in the Constitution. But if from a policy perspective, if you said, hey, this is encouraging people to cross the border, we should think about addressing this issue. That doesn't make sense to me with the people who are here lawfully, but on a temporary work visa.
All right. Chad, you're shaking your head. Why?
Again, this premise that, you know, we're going to have a Supreme Court decision from over 100 years ago when the country looked very different than what it is today, and that we have such drivers of illegal immigration coming into the United States, and we continue just to hand out citizenship left and right. It just seems bizarre to me that we don't want to take another look at it, and that's what the Trump administration is doing, obviously taking this all the way to the Supreme Court.
Listen, I get it. I think this is very Trumpy. for him to do this, but it is such anathema to conservatives. If Nino Scalia, may he rest in peace, if Nino Scalia heard you guys saying, yeah, Republicans should take another look at this because, you know, we've changed a lot since they did this in the Constitution, he would have gone crazy because conservative jurisprudence is within the four corners. Nothing has changed. The rules are the rules. You apply them to the moment. You don't change the rules to suit the moment. But it's an interesting idea. Let's check this other one. Sandwig, do you think that going after these gangs, bad guys doing bad things in this country, this is a legal mechanism to get them out with less due process? Nobody's going to complain about that. Make the move. You think it wins in terms of law, but is it the right policy? John. Oh, I was going to say, John's got some good face, but he froze. Chad, you still there? Or am I all alone? Because I can do both sides of the conversation by myself. So John's position would be, you're not at war with these people. You don't abridge due process out of convenience in the moment. And that's what this was. What's your argument on why you would want to use a law like this from 1789?
Again, I think the Trump team is looking at these designations that they made about foreign terrorist organizations. TDA is certainly one, as well as others. And they're saying, hey, let's target these individuals. These are criminal, these are terrorist-like individuals that are here in the United States. Let's apprehend them and remove them as quickly as possible. And I think the majority of the Americans would say, yeah, that's a great idea. Again, this is a law you indicated from 1700s. We just talked about a Supreme Court decision from the 1800s. So if it's good enough in that case to continue to be the law of the land, then utilizing this, and again, probably will likely go to the courts, but utilizing this law from obviously a couple hundred years ago, I think is certainly feasible. One of the hardest things to do, and I know you've dealt with this on so many different levels, is doing the right thing by the wrong people is hard. You know, when there are groups that like deserve no kind of due process, like these guys that we're talking about, but it's hard. But it is going to be in the courts, and we'll watch how it plays out. Chad, thank you very much for making the case. John, Sandwig, wherever you are, thank you. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.